Jess, very good to have you back on here, sir. Thank you very much.
Jacob, thanks for having me on again. This is our second date.
Second date, and I'm a little bit nervous, but it's been about almost 200 episodes since you've been on here. So, we have some catching up to do.
Sounds good.
The last time you were on here, Hella Love was just released, or it was right around maybe like a month or so out. Um, Looking back on it now though, how do you feel about that album now that it's kind
Oh,
of been living out in the ether for a bit?
yeah, it was definitely a step up for me, I think, in terms of like production, in terms of like the type of record I was able to make, you know? I think I was used to making records with friends or myself, and this was the first time I worked with like an engineer that I think helped level up the sounds quite a bit. So I look back on that record quite fondly, and yeah, it's definitely like a tender concept, of like leaving home and and all that. But yeah, there's still songs on that record that I enjoy playing, and so yeah, it's definitely I think one of my favorite records I've made so far.
Do you view any of those songs differently now compared to when you first wrote them or when they were first released?
It is a little bit differently, like, and just in terms of like making an album, like you like it's I've chosen to make similar to La La La, like these conceptual records that are kind of like highlighting certain places. And um it's just kind of a funny thing when you have material that's about a specific place and you're maybe singing it in a different place. So it's like I think making Hella Love and then moving to LA and then kind of realizing that I was singing these songs about a place that was, you know, that was just in the same state, but just, about, just in Northern California. It felt like it felt a little funny, but to be so hyper specific about a concept, um, if there's just something that is a little just kind of interesting about that. But yeah, I mean, I still enjoy playing the music, and in some ways, maybe like even after 2 years, you kind of like can grow a little bit and try to maybe get into some different sounds and maybe try to update some of the music a little bit. But I still enjoy it. But it is kind of funny singing about a song about like a part of the Mission District in LA, or even like being on tour and singing about like a specific place in like Vancouver or something like that.
Right.
But
Does does the change occur through just amount of times playing it and sitting with the song and playing it live and practicing it? Does that also have an effect on how it changes over time or morphs?
yeah, definitely. I think just like anything with practice, it's gonna like maybe um, certain dynamics might develop a little bit more differently with a band, or with these songs. I'm sure there's tons of songwriters that you've talked to that have like different approaches to writing or recording material. But for me, like a lot of it was demoed beforehand a little bit, but a lot of the songs and a lot of the extra texture stuff was kind of like, or arrangements were done in the studio, and so you're kind of like writing a record um, before you've even played or like, gotten a chance to like try it out, like in on the stage or in front of people, so and you may have an idea of what's fun to play, and then you may play it live and you may get like a different response from people, or you may find like certain songs hit a little bit different, or um like there was like a song called like Beyond the Rainbow Tunnel on Hella Love that was kind of one of those like written in the studio sort of songs, but it ended up being a song that people kind of like, I think, liked a little bit more on that record. So it was, so I didn't really start playing that song when the album came out, but it's one I started to play more recently.
So people should go see you live if they want to hear that live.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
And we're moving tickets. You're doing a big worldwide tour
Um,
coming up, right? That's I mean
I hope
that's what I've been seeing.
we have a tour, not worldwide, but we have like a West Coast tour with a band called, that band Surprise Chef? Are you
Yes, I
familiar with
do.
them?
Yeah.
Yeah, really good instrumental band from Australia. They have like a US tour, and they had asked us to help them out with like a West Coast leg. So not quite world tour, but at least we got like Colorado, Arizona, a little Southwest, and mostly California coming up in July.
That's the world, I think.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
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 they're awesome. They're really rad.
yeah. They're yeah. It's like it's to be like an instrumental band to really be engaging. Yeah, it takes really good like players or songwriters or creative people to really keep you engaged like that. You know, yeah, they're
Definitely.
talented.
Yeah, it's on a different kind of level there with strictly instrumentation
Hmm.
wise.
Yeah, it's like a soundtrack to like a like your own movie in your head or something like a really cool movie that you can imagine or something. You know, it's great.
That's gonna be great. And when does that start?
For us, it starts July 17th, I believe, and the first show's in Colorado, and then we make our way down south and towards California after.
Right on.
Yeah.
Have you visited every state, all 50 states?
No way. Yeah. I mean, the bands that I've toured in have mostly done just like West Coast tours or Southwest. I've as far as I've gone east is Chicago in terms of playing. So yeah, I feel like yeah, it's just a small fraction of the many states or world that I've played so far.
Would you want to play a show in every state?
That would be cool. Yeah, I would love that. I mean, I would love the thing even with Hella Love when it came out, it was still pandemic era. Um, so there wasn't even a lot of playing for that, you know. But yeah, I'm excited with this album being out like about 3 months now. I'm really excited to really play as much as I can. So yeah, I
So
would be down
whatever
any.
state anybody's listening in, you will be there shortly.
Yeah, hopefully this year or next year.
What is your favorite track from Hella Love? At least right now, maybe not of a definite answer.
Um, I like the song Maritime. Um, if you're familiar with it, it's just there's just some cool chord. It's like a lot, but it's like there's a lot of cool chord changes to that and melody that came pretty naturally when writing that song that I look back on and I'm kind of like, oh man, I don't know how I wrote this one, but this one was um I guess I'm proud of the chord changes in that song specifically.
I mean, that's what everybody's looking for, I think, at the end of the day. That's how I always think it's surprise chief, but it's chef.
Hmm. It's like a pop-up restaurant.
It's a pop-up restaurant and it's they're serving good food, good
Yeah.
eats, a local favorite.
Yeah. Like things you wouldn't
Um,
even expect on the menu.
yeah.
Yeah. Elvis sandwich? Wow, you know, not everyone does that. Peanut butter, bacon, banana. Yeah.
Have you ever ate one of those, by the way?
I have. Yeah, there was a diner in SF. I can't remember the name, but it was like off the market. And it was a little tiny like old like hole in the wall diner that they're open late and they served that sandwich specifically. So it's kind of a cool novelty thing to do if you're up late
Do you
and in that
crave it?
area.
I mean, do you like you're like, hey, I want one of these right now.
Oh my God. I haven't. I've never gone as far as to make one for myself, but you'd have to think like after like someone like that, like the King to have eaten, who's probably played in every state and has probably played in every country to have eaten all the food, he's experienced every culture, and he's decided that that's his food of choice, you know?
Yeah, that
That
it
says
is saying
something.
something. Yeah, exactly. I never really thought about that, but yeah, you're right. Would you want to see Elvis? Is that one of those people that you're like, oh, I wish I could have seen Elvis? Or not so much, maybe
Not so
somebody
much, not
else.
so much. Not so much. Um, yeah, I would probably rather meet like Val Kilmer dressed as Elvis in True Romance. Yeah, maybe than actually meeting the King. But yeah, um, R.I.P.
Yeah,
Val
all right.
Kilmer
R.I.P. Oh, I was
for
gonna
all
say
your
Elvis,
listeners
but
out
yeah,
there. Yeah,
both of them,
yeah,
I guess. Yeah. He he was a great Jim Morrison in The
yeah,
Doors.
yeah. That was kind of like probably one of his breakout roles. Yeah, totally. Yeah, he was essentially like Jim Morrison in that role.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you watched a couple of his movies since he's passed?
No, but the last one I saw was Heat. Watched
So
that
good.
one pretty shortly before, at least it seemed before his passing. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
you got
yeah.
De Niro, you got Pacino.
Dude, yeah, one of the coolest LA movie heist movies. Yeah, I haven't finished it, but I started watching Thief, which is Michael Mann's like earlier 70s movie. It's got like Tangerine Dream soundtrack, but it's like a similar character, similar type of storyline as well. But yeah, that's such a cool movie.
What are some recs that you've gotten in the past that maybe weren't up to snuff and you're like, that's not as good of a movie as I was told it was?
Oh, like something that changed my mind that I ended up liking.
No, no, no.
Oh,
Quite the opposite. That somebody said that you would like and you didn't. You're like, this is
oh, got it,
not,
got it, got
yes.
it. Let's see. Well, I saw the most recent Tom Cruise movie, um, like the Mission Impossible movie, and it's just it was a lot of enthusiasm from friends seeing it, but I definitely could appreciate aspects of it, but it definitely wasn't for me. I saw it last night, but I also had only seen like the first like Brian De Palma movie of Mission Impossible, so there's a lot of catching up that I probably could have done but didn't. Um, but yeah, it wasn't for me. It was like it was it it's and maybe my experience would have changed if I watched the other like five movies that I've missed since in the franchise. But
It's a pretty
um,
big gap. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And I didn't even
But
know Brian De Palma directed the first one. Is that
yeah,
right? Wow.
that's correct. Yeah, yeah, it's a pretty there's some questionable CG in it, but like at times, but yeah, it has like a cool some cool cinematography. I mean, the cast is pretty insane. It's the first one right out the gates. Um, and I was talking with someone yesterday because it's the only thing that I could probably like relate to because it's only one of the only movies I've seen. But yeah, it was like it's crazy how they had the entire cast. Like Emilio Estevez was even in it, or like and they set up this whole cast and then just like obliterate everybody right away, which is kind of a bold move in a movie that you don't really expect, you know. So yeah, props to the first one.
And props to Emilio Estevez saying, like, yes, I'll do it.
He's like, yes, yeah, totally. I kill me, and I think it was maybe one of his last movies in a while after that. But I mean, I think he kind of took a step down from acting. But yeah,
Why I always
um,
thought it was Mission Impossible, Breakfast Club,
yeah, Mighty Ducks.
Mighty Ducks, of course, Repo Man,
Hmm.
in that order.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then I think he finished up with Outsiders.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, but looking at that cast from Outsiders, it's incredible to see like how many people are really in it.
yeah, and actually, now that you mention it, thinking about it, like Tom Cruise had a really small role in that movie too. And I mean, there's so many people in that movie that you can kind of like, oh, you're kind of like surprised every time when you see it. You're like, oh shit, I forgot. But but yeah, Tom Cruise has a small role, so who knows? Maybe they're maybe working on Mission Impossible has something to do with that. We're
I
getting
think so.
SFS back in the fold.
Yeah, it's like we'll do a
Mhm.
Outsiders role for Emilio in this in
Yeah.
this new Mission Possible. Um, The Color of Money was a really good one, I thought, from
Oh
Tom
yeah.
Cruise, and it was so different from The Hustler that it was like, oh, this is kind of a sequel, but sort of is, but sort of isn't. I
Yeah.
actually really enjoyed that one.
Oh, so good. And it's where they coined the term or like it's how the title of the video game Doom was kind of like created too. Or
Really,
like when I think the developers of the video game I think maybe had referenced it because like there's a scene when like Tom Cruise comes out with his like his like his favorite like stick or his cue pull cue is yeah, that's what it's called. And he like names it Doom, or he has like a there's like a scene where he's like, this is Doom, where he like introduces it. But yeah, that movie that was also a Scorsese movie. That's kind of a
oh, that's
I
that's
didn't
crazy, and I did not know that either. I guess I just
yeah,
don't pay attention to directors at all, whatever they're doing. I'm more just
sure. Yeah,
what's
it's
Emilio
a good movie
doing,
though. Yeah.
what's Tom
What's Tom
Cruise
Cruise
doing.
doing? Yeah. No, that was a great movie. You know, it was kind of like just seeing like how it was more about like the psychological aspect of the sport more as much, maybe just as much or more than the actual playing of it. But Yeah, I've seen it once, but I really enjoyed it too.
Yeah.
It was one of those movies that I just didn't know about, or no one really mentioned to me, but kind of stumbled upon. But
But now
yeah,
you're mentioning it to other people, so the word's getting out there.
yeah, yeah. Now we're letting people know about the Doom origin. Yeah, deep cuts.
Now, what was a movie that you heard that was like not good, and then you checked it out and you're like, this was actually really good? People were
Oh
wrong.
yeah,
I was misinformed.
back to the same. Yeah. Let's see. Um, because it's good. It's good to have like low expectations for something going into anything. Um, kind of drawing a blank here. Uh,
We can circle back. We got time. We're going
okay,
4 hours this time since you've been gone
sounds
for a
good.
while. So yeah, no worries.
I got
Yeah,
nothing going on. Let's do this.
right on. Did you take some time after the release of Hella Love to begin working on this new album, La La La? Was there a little bit of a gap in between these two, or did it kind of overlap in terms of at least getting it together in forms of writing?
Yeah, there was a tiny bit of overlapping, like when Hell Love, I guess, had finished. I was still kind of like writing a few different new songs at that point, and then in 2021 the album came out, and then I kind of took a break, from writing after moving, and just kind of like was focused on playing or trying to maybe start to get a band together around that time. Then the following year was a little bit more, I mean, doing a little bit of touring. But I started to write probably the following year. I managed to like kind of do an album a year up to that point, and then since then it took like about 2.5, 3 years to come out with La La La. So I think maybe with the pandemic and maybe the restrictions from playing, um, and maybe just the experience of making Hell Love and having like a very ambitious, one of the most ambitious records I'd made so far, and then looking at like, well, how can I kind of give myself a chance to do something similar, do something with a lot more arrangements, or kind of push myself to do something I hadn't really done before. So it took me a while to kind of like write and kind of compose some stuff for that. So it was definitely like La 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 was probably like the most ambitious record I've made, and put just like way more thought into it, and trying to like write in some genres that I hadn't written before, and so it just took a long time. Um, but yeah, at this point, like since it's been out since February, um, I've already started working on the next one, so I'm trying to maybe get another album out by next year and maybe pick it up a little bit more. But maybe the pandemic has something to do with it, or maybe it just had to do with maybe moving or trying to figure out what I wanted to do next. Um, but yeah,
Hopefully, an album per month next year. We're working on
that'd
it.
be incredible.
That'd be really crazy.
I haven't listened to all of them, but you hear like bands like King Gizzard. Do you follow that band? They
Hmm.
probably do like a couple albums, or maybe 4 albums a year, or like maybe at that point. It's insane. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, it is. So this La 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 album, it was created entirely in LA, right?
It was both. It's like it started in LA in Highland Park in terms of like recording like drums and some of the rhythm section stuff and some of the other instruments, but it kind of went back and forth a little bit between like the engineer who worked on it was Jason, who lives in Jason Kick, who lives in the East Bay
Ah,
and in the Bay Area, and he so it was kind of like a little bit in both places, but yeah, he came down like about twice, and I went up there about 3 or 4 times.
oh, that's cool. All right.
Mhm.
And then I read that you went to Albuquerque too, just to relax a little bit and listen to the stuff through some speakers, and then come back to San Francisco.
Man, I wish I've never been, but yeah, yeah, I had to like,
That's
but
one of the places that you're going to be stopping on this
exactly.
tour. Oh,
Yeah,
all right.
so I need to yeah, but I can also pick it up there and just like listen to the record now that it's out, and just
Mhm.
like if I have any notes for Jason, I could probably send it to him after the fact.
Imagine that, like, hey,
Album turned out good, but maybe we could turn the bass up a little bit on track three. Yeah, just to give you a couple notes. Yeah,
physical copies already released.
yeah,
A lot of albums already been sold, but we need to We're gonna do a remaster
Yeah, that'd
next
be fun.
year,
That'd be
actually,
fun.
just to just to fix that one little bit,
Oh
and
my
then
God. Or Jacob, this is like my way. If I can't write material like
mhm.
by every month, at least I can like do remixes constantly.
That's
Remastered.
smart. That's good.
Mm.
Yeah, I like that. Did it just come out? No, no, no. This is the remaster. It came out last month, but this is the remaster new this month.
Yeah, by Jonathan Brado. No one's heard this one. That'd be sick.
That would be
That would
cool.
actually be cool. Like just give your tracks to a different like engineer altogether or producer and see what they could do with it. But
Actually would
yeah.
be really interesting to see how much is changed or how much stays the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think that as a producer, it's going through a different filter when you're listening to stuff? Maybe not even stuff that you're working on, but just something that somebody had turned on, or you're at a bar and something is played, or a grocery store, whatever it may be, that it's like kind of you're looking at things differently from a different point of view.
Yeah, I think we probably all do for sure. If it's, or if it's like someone like approaching you with like an idea or something like that, like and it's their idea and they're like asking you about it, or if you're listening to um sometimes you anticipate parts if you're listening to like maybe something in a supermarket or something like that, if it's a pop song you haven't heard before, and sometimes you kind of like anticipate where it could go. Sometimes you're right. Like I feel
Sometimes
like
you
this
are right.
chorus
Yeah.
is coming up right about here, you know what I mean? Feels like, this is about the time for that other part to hit in that we'd already heard earlier. We're probably going to keep hearing this a couple more times, but yeah, sometimes you're completely wrong though, and sometimes like a songwriter, yeah, something can take you to a completely, yeah. It will always have that perspective. Um, yeah, it would be cool. It would be cool to just collaborate with more people too, and just like I kind of like that too, like the idea of just like working with a different songwriter, completely, or so getting to like work with someone else's music. It's definitely less like precious than working on your own material too.
Yeah,
But
because you're kind of a little bit there's a little bit of a gap between you and the what is being created.
mhm.
Mm. Now, have you produced or have you gotten the opportunity to produce anybody else's work?
Like a little bit, like I had like there was there was like a collaborative thing that I had with a friend. I guess we still do casually. It's been a while since we've released anything, but we would do remixes of other people's stuff, like and friends of ours as well. And so it was fun to be able to like take their music and kind of like put a spin on it a little bit. Um, and working with other songwriters, I haven't done that quite as much, but that's something I'm kind of hoping to do a little bit more. Um, at least, I'm especially being in Southern California where there's so many musicians.
Yeah,
But yeah, I put it out there a little bit with a few colleagues, so hoping to do more of it. It's really fun.
and we will have the email up there. Serious inquiries only, right there. You know where to click. Regarding making this new album, though, you kind of had a cavalcade of different people working on this with you, at least for certain tracks, and some were on multiples, and some were just playing on a few couple of things here and there.
Hmm.
How did you get that roster created? Did you send out feelers or like a word to mouth to kind of situation, or how did that go down?
Yeah, yeah, it was sending out feelers just from like maybe Chris Cohen and a few other instrumentalists were people that I hadn't known, but some of them were friends through friends. So it was easy to kind of reach out to maybe like a harp player that I hadn't known, but I'd like followed, and most people were available and were able to like come through with it, and some of the musicians like Shayna or my friend Liz from a band called Radiation City or Cardioid or Chris or Cohen or my friend Eduardo from Chicano Batman, um, and my band and my backing band and everything as well. They were all like pretty open to it. So, and it was just a matter of like sending them music, and sending them demos and kind of you ask these people because they have like a skill set, and they're like Chris Cohen's a great drummer, great producer, great bass player. Eduardo is a great bassist, and I knew that he understood salsa music and really liked it. And so having him play like on a salsa sounding song like was really like it was in his wheelhouse, you know, or having like Shayna sing like harmonies or having her come in to sing some things like I knew that I was in good hands with them too, you know. And so and it's cool that they were all up for it, you know. So that was exciting to have like a bigger roster and um yeah, for Jason, it was a little bit more work for just like the amount of people and things we had to keep track of in terms of mixing. But yeah, it was fun to kind of go a little bit bigger in that regard, you know, to invite more people in on it. And it's
Oh
something
yeah.
I'd want to I'd love to keep doing, or even like even if it's not on like a Marinero record, it'd be cool just to like work with some of these people too, and like meeting like Chris Cohen, who's like someone who's like I'm like such a huge fan of their work that they've done or like the work that he's done with Deerhoof, or like I've just like followed some of his music over the years, and so it was such a trip to be like working on your own music with this person and to hear them like add that touch that you really respect and that you could hear on their albums and get to be able to bring it into your own, and then just to have like a little bit of a working relationship, and then just having like a little bit of a personal relationship that's come from that has been really cool, you know. So I would love to work with him again, you know, whether it's my music or anybody else's. Oh, actually, my do you know that band Fake Fruit?
No.
Um, oh, they're a band from the Bay Area. The singer Hannah like reached out to me one of the last times I was out there and mentioned that she was looking to work on a solo record, and she asked if I would be down to work with her and Chris Cohen. So, which I think would be like a really fun situation, you know. Probably take
Yeah.
the pressure off of all on Chris, but to be able to maybe work side by side with them in terms of like producing would be really fun.
Yeah, in a
So,
different capacity is really interesting as well.
yeah,
You live
totally.
a
It
really
looks.
interesting life, and I like to hear about it, Jess. I just don't, just don't come on the podcast enough. This is, we just have to catch up so much. Nope. Please go back and listen to Chris's episode and Shayna's episode if you haven't already. Jess, I know that you are listening to the podcast every week. Always commenting for the algo. That's what you put underneath all of these.
Oh
But
yeah.
that's for the
Actually,
people
I
who
requested myself too. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for reading my comment.
we did get around to reading the comments. Yeah, we did finally scroll down. Um, you know, speaking about comments, and whatnot, I know that you've had some more recent music videos for this last album, and I don't know if I think it's on Hardly Arts YouTube, right?
I think they let it they let me post it, which is cool.
So you're doing it now with some bands on YouTube, like underneath like a Vivo or something like that, the comments are always turned off. Have you noticed that?
I haven't like specific types of like bigger bands.
Yeah, or if it's through like some sort of publishing thing rather than like somebody random that is like, let's say like somebody posted like the Beatles Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds from like Jeff0574, whatever.
Yeah,
That guy's gonna leave the comments on and then you can comment below that. But like if Vivo or somebody else, maybe like Apple Records or whoever it may be, is posting it, so comments are turned off. I always found that really interesting.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't noticed that. What? Why do you think that is? Like they're
I
like the
was I was
source.
looking
They're like the source, you know? Yeah,
for
I have
your
no idea.
insight, Jess,
Yeah.
because I mean you are Mr. Music. Like I'm Mr. Music Man is what you've been
Mhm.
saying. So it's like I gotta ask Mr.
Yeah.
Music Man when he's on here.
Man. Man, I wish I was more of like a YouTube man though. Yeah, I haven't come across that. Gosh, why would that be? Like heated controversy over Beatles songs. People are just like once you're that big, like people just there's you know, I think like where I'm at, which is fairly like small, like underground, and like to have like comments turned on, it's like it's like encouraging. I think it allowing people to like share their you know it's their whatever they're feeling about it, which is sometimes really funny and sometimes really sweet. But I feel like maybe at a certain point where you're too big, like it gets dark. You know, maybe with too many people, like uh, it just becomes like just it just takes a turn for the worse, maybe.
So we should tell the people, start commenting now or get your comments out now because it's gonna the door's gonna be closing soon.
Oh, for this podcast, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
oh no,
I
no,
mean,
no. I mean for your underneath your music on YouTube is what I
like
meant.
I'm surprised you even read my comments, like, which are cool because I'm this is really this podcast taken off too. So
Yeah, it's well, I mean one of the if not the biggest
music pod,
in the Yorkland, Southern California, Orange County area. Focusing on music specifically, usually done around 1 o'clock p.m. It's a very specific niche thing, but it's like pretty big for like where it's at.
definitely.
Um, do you think that any band or artist will surpass the success of the Beatles? Or do you think that
No,
yeah, that's what I thought too. I mean, because there's so many avenues that you could find music through, and so many people doing different kinds of
yeah,
music.
so many, yeah, but just
Yeah,
like merchandising and things like that level, or like getting to the point where there's like action figures of you, or like like lunch boxes, or it's like it's almost like proto Star Wars, like in a way of like the type of like merchandising the Beatles I think we're able to get out there. And yeah, there's artists like that, like even like Michael Jackson in the 90s that like I remember like them shutting down the world when like the Dangerous album came out, and he like released like the black or white video with like Macaulay Culkin, and it was like a special event, like if it was like a Super Bowl or something. And it was like he released the video in the daytime, and like everybody's like, I mean, I was like 11 or 12 or something like when it came out, but I remember like my parents were like tuned into it, and it was like a special event. But I just don't think we'll ever get there again, just because of like the amount of bands and because of the internet, because like there's just so much more music going on. But it's and also like the Beatles are just like, even it's so nuts to think about them specifically, and like the success that they've had. Yeah, like the merchandising is insane too, but it's like we haven't been able to like get a band that's quite as, as far as like three or four songwriters together, like that type of working relationship in a band, like where they're all standalone, incredibly talented. It's like that's pretty rare, I think. Um, so we always come back to those records, and
yeah,
it's yeah, it's hard. But in the conversation of like collaboration, it'd be cool to get like a little super group together of all these different bands. Like if like even last like 2 weeks ago, I was in the Bay Area, and Chris Cohen opened for like Noah Lennox from Panda Bear. And to
okay,
me,
yeah.
like I thought like, wow, like these are, I wouldn't have picked them together. I not that I that not that I thought they wouldn't fit, but I just didn't think that they were like maybe even the same like fan base or anything. But I think they do work really well, like just because they're both like very good songwriters. And I think that there's like some Beach Boys sensibilities and some of like the earlier Panda Bear stuff, and it's some of it's very lo-fi sounding, and Chris Cohen has like an array of different kind of sounds that he's tapped into, but some of it's kind of like harking back to like the 60s or like late like early 70s. Some of it sounds like a little bit Burt Bacharach ish to me in some of his earlier stuff. And I don't know, like it would be fun to think about like artists like that working together, you know what I mean? Or like a bunch of songwriters working together. Or even like Panda Bear, who I don't follow like a ton of their music more recently, but I noticed that like Panda Bear had come out with a song with Cindy Lee as like one of their first singles. And
Cindy Lee
I was
from
from that band Women. Did you ever follow that band Women?
no, but that name sounds familiar. But
Yeah,
anyways,
they came
Cindy
out with
Lee.
a record I think last year. Like it was like a triple album, and it was all released for free. I think it was like some of it, most of it, I think is on YouTube, for sure. But
Comments on or
um,
off though? Just
ooh, good question.
just
I
so you
think they're probably on, dude. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Right on. That's cool.
Like let the masses go nuts.
That is cool. Um, i- i-
Nice.
is there has there been an opportunity that you've had to go see a band that you didn't go to and you regret now not going to see them live, whoever that may be?
Ooh. Um, I think when like Fugazi came out with like the argument, which is back maybe in the early 2000s, they played like a show in Golden Gate Park, and yeah, I regret not going to that. I didn't realize that that was gonna be their last record, or um, and so yeah, when I hear about that show, or I wish I wish I actually got together to go. Um, but yeah, that would have been a cool one to see for sure.
Such a stark contrast, in my opinion, of like Minor Threat to Fugazi.
Oh my
There's
God,
some harsh stuff in there, but also it's like he's really changing stuff around Ian in that.
totally. I mean, it's like even in terms of their records, like people always like think about Waiting Room, obviously, and
Mhm.
like it's a groovy song. Um, it gets heavy, but like that record, the argument is it's a lot more songy. Like it's there's a lot more. It's a pretty like there's a pretty wide spectrum of the types of songs on that record, and it seems like they kind of like got more into writing like pop songs a little bit. I mean, there are some heavier songs, but there's some well written. I guess they were just maybe they just shut it down because they maybe it's hard to follow, or maybe they were just who knows age. But yeah, that record is way different, vastly different than some of the other stuff, and it might be my favorite record of theirs. I mean,
Oh
in
wow.
retrospect, yeah. Like the especially the like the Guy Picciotto songs, like thinking back, like right to Spring to like he kind of has like the '60s thing. Um, really, so he has like a really cool groovy like a couple songs that he sings on are really cool. Like are groovy or have some really cool, interesting guitar parts. Or but they're like they're not punk. They're not as heavy. They're not as like angular and they're a little bit more '60s sounding on that record.
Angular
But
is a
yeah.
good word for that.
Mhm.
I like that. Thank you for bringing it out on this podcast.
Sure.
Here. I would have never used it, but it's going to be in the repertoire now. It's in my lexicon.
Nice.
Do you find it daunting to begin the task of making a new album? Is it something that you're like, oh, I have to do this, or is it at least in some points is it like that? In the other ways, you're like, I'm excited for this.
It can be like I think I felt that more like after Hell Love, and so when I was like looking at demos and trying to figure out what I wanted to do next, and I felt that to a certain degree, but it was also fun. It was fun to kind of like think about like what I hadn't done before, and maybe making a list of some things that I kind of wanted to try out, and just listening to records, watching movies, like getting ideas, like um, but now, like since that album's been out, and I haven't felt, I've just kind of like naturally gotten into like making this next one, which is um, the songs that I'm working on now are demoing, so it hasn't felt quite as daunting. Um, and I think it was just because like finished right after I finished. I think it was the break that I took. Like after Hell Love, I like moved. I took a break. There's a pandemic, waiting for the rollout. And I think with La La La, once I finished, I was still writing, and so I just kept writing, which is I think that's probably the key to it all.
With this La La La, where did you start with getting this album off the ground? Did you start with demoing, or did you
Yeah,
just start with just something else?
yeah. It was just demoing, like voice memos, originally, and then it kind of grows to like working on Ableton Live, or like working on some working at home, like on with overdubbing some stuff, and then I actually just moved going up since I'd worked with Jason on Hell Love. I thought it would be cool to like spend some time with him with some of the demos and just kind of like get him up to speed, or kind of get him acclimated with some of the music before we like dive into the recording of the record. So we spent a little bit of time of like working on demos together, and then yeah, and then kind of make a list of them all, and like and try to look at it like a mixtape sort of, I guess, and you know kind of look at it, approach it like what might it need, like maybe a slow song here or a slower song here, or yeah, it's been a cool process being able to work with Jason. But it's also one of those things, he lives so far away. It's like it's tough to really do that realistically, And so I'm in Los Angeles or Southern California, and there's so many like other people to work with down here. So at this point, I'm kind of just doing demos on my own or trying to get them sounding good enough, and then like maybe even like maybe even get to the point where I can record them myself, or maybe try to mix it a little bit or myself, and then maybe even work with someone else to get like a final mix, you know? So I'm kind of open to trying some new ways of recording now.
Is there a point that you no longer refer to or use a demo for a song? Is there just like a point, it's like that we no longer need to be playing this, or I don't need to be referring to this anymore since it's like structurally here at some point?
Oh, like like a demo specifically?
Yeah. Like
Like an
off of the phone, or maybe like a more more rigid recording of an idea that you just
mhm.
kind of go, all right, I'm done with that. Like I know what the final is gonna be.
Oh yeah. There's this thing that occurs with people sometimes, where like a demo you could be so used to it, where it's hard to like let go of it. You know what I mean? Or we some friends or people use the term like demoitis, you know, in the sense that it's like you're so like accustomed to it and like how it sounds, and there's like a charm to it, and people sometimes struggle with like I don't know, recreating that in a studio or in a different like with other people or in a different environment. And it's always going to change, I think. But I think for me, I'm better at like letting go of it. And I don't know, I kind of I think as long as you have like a song that you like, you kind of I think you can kind of get away with sonically having it sound a lot of different ways. You know what I mean? Like bands that I really like, songwriters that I really like, sometimes have really crappy, awesome, like warm, shitty, like old, like like recordings. You know, and sometimes there's some mystique in that choice, but also like if there's a really good song in there, you're still gonna like that shitty recording. You know, and you know, I kind of go back to that as long as you have a good song, you can kind of like get away with recording it a variety of different ways. So it's easier for me to kind of like let go of it. So if I'm at the point where I'm like demoed something that I'm like it's like a song that I'm like into, then it's easier for me to kind of like you know try hear it like in a different way. You know, um,
Yeah.
and sometimes like when you're just like working it, there's other ideas that like will come to you. Like if you're going over a part for a couple months and you're used to it by listening to like a demo, you're driving around in your car, you're going to come up with different ideas, you know, from listening to it just spontaneously. Or if you're in a different studio with other people and there's instruments that you don't have access to, sometimes there could be like a cool like idea that may emerge from something that you might not have had access to too. So yeah, I definitely it's easier for me to let go of those like earlier demos than I think some other artists sometimes. But um, yeah, it's also because I'm remastering my songs every other month, you know. So it's easy it's easier for me to let go.
I'm not married to it at all.
Yeah,
it's gonna turn out differently.
yeah,
Um, with with that with that idea of demoing something, are you leaving room for it to be changed or altered? Like it might just take a different path, although it's
yeah.
coming from the same idea.
Sometimes that's really helpful. I mean, like sometimes like kind of similar to what I was saying earlier, but like in the sense like sometimes a rhythm can totally change a song. Like I could play a song on guitar and it could be like acoustic, and I may think it's like a folky thing, and then if I add like a certain type of drum beat or work with a certain type of drummer that maybe looks at it a different way, or what I've been doing lately is like I've been like ripping like um drums from like YouTube and like from songs that I really like. Like I've been like ripping like broadcast like drum parts, you know, from certain songs and taking demos.
Commenting stole this.
Yeah, rip
Yeah.
this. Yeah, luckily they had their comments turned off.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah,
they can even find you. Right on. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Masterpiece.
Broadcasts are too mainstream right now. Yeah, dude. Yeah, like yeah, lo-fi. like 90s throwback 60s like noise field recording sounds are like way too popular. Yeah, I don't know. No, but yeah, just like
Low,
putting it.
chill hip hop,
Yeah,
chill hip hop beats to study
yeah,
to
yeah,
field recording.
yeah, definitely. Spotify knows.
Why is that so popular though? Do you think is like there's a lot of channels doing that chill lo-fi hip hop beats to study to. How
Yeah,
many people are really studying to it is what I'd like to know as well.
that's a good question. But I remember like you kind of want to listen to music when you were in school and you were like working on something and like um there's something soothing about it too, but like I had to listen to music that had zero vocals for me to actually get anything done, you know. But I wonder if yeah, I wonder if like there's students out there that are like that are actually thinking that they're like looking for that and stumble upon it. Like Google music to study to.
But chill and like lo-fi,
Yeah, yeah.
hip hop oriented.
So like with
Man, do
field
we have the
recordings.
thing for
Yeah,
you?
yeah,
Field recordings. Anyways, leaving that that space though for it to interchange which however it needs to be when the time comes that kind of changes it a little bit for you.
oh yeah, with totally. I think it's just getting like different perspective. Like you could have an idea and like just giving it a chance to maybe maybe using different like rhythms or different like samples or different like or working with different drummers or it could just be like an instrumental. It could be an instrumentation thing. It could be like guitar or like or maybe like a different piano sound or something. Like giving it a chance to like a demo to like to give it that different perspective in some way. I think it's healthy for us to kind of like um maybe stumble upon something we didn't anticipate, you know. And it's some like we can surprise ourselves sometimes, you know, or just giving that different perspective can really like unlock the thing that we're really looking for, or you know. Um yeah, it's really helpful for me to like just like use different loops or different drum patterns and things like that to kind of get a different perspective on a song. And so it could be something that you've like backlogged a long time ago that you've maybe even forgotten about, and like an idea or a song that you like that maybe didn't seem right like at that point in the past, and you'd like it just didn't seem like it really worked with anything, and then you can kind of like change a lot over the course of a couple of years and just like and maybe just experimenting with it, or it could be something you can use like at a different time too. But
Right.
yeah.
With a demo being worked out and then kind of getting to the final arrangement of it or final recording, do they sometimes sound nothing alike
Yeah.
from what it was stemming from to where the final product was? Would you recycle that initial demo into something else? If there's like, yeah, there's no remnants of this same thing, but I think that this stem that I was working from does have some legs in a different capacity. Would you would you ever do that
Yeah,
or
yeah,
be open to
definitely.
doing that? Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, like and you're always going to look at things a little bit differently and kind of like there's a song that like maybe you sometimes can be a little bit more critical on like newer demos, you know. But if you like listen go back to older demos, you kind of like have become maybe less maybe forgetting about it, and you can kind of I find that I'm less critical about something if I've like listened to a demo that I'm like completely forgotten about, you know, that I'm more open to it, you know, where it's kind of surprising you. It's kind of like having fresh ears with something, you know.
Yeah.
Um, like I don't always do this, but I did this recently where I just like went through my computer and like archived a bunch of like files from like Ableton Live that like all alphabetically like went through everything and like what is this one? This like what does carousel mean? I have no idea, you know, like listening to it and all these different ideas just to kind of like um see if it's something I could use for a very like any very new project that I'm working on. Like I'm kind of working on like a new album right now. I'm kind of working on like a soundtrack that I'm working on for like a movie. And so I'm like are these things that can cross over, or is this just a bad idea? Maybe this is just a bad idea. It's still, but maybe of like all the music that I've like listened back to on my computer, like maybe there's like 20% of those songs that I forgot about that are maybe ideas that I think I can use for projects I'm working on right now too, which is cool.
Is it immediately apparent when you find something like that? You're like, yes, this is something that I'm looking for.
Yeah, it's like those are the ones that I really take note of, like immediately that I'm like, yes, like this, like whoa, there's like it could be like a melody or it could be like a chord progression or like of or a couple different progressions that you completely forget about. There, like, there's really something here, that if that initial like that feeling that you get when you or like it could be the same thing of listening to a song that you like, that you've added to like, your favorites list or something like those types of feelings that you get from your maybe your own material are the ones I'm trying to take note of.
Yeah, or like something that is like on a YouTube playlist that doesn't have any comments. Like that's usually a good sign.
Yeah, yeah. Like a Beatles song. Yeah.
I was gonna go more in the Fugazi way this time, but
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Do you try to like set a deadline when you begin working on, or whenever you know that there's like, oh, there's an album like that needs to be worked on, and like I want to be done by this point.
Yes, dude, that is like so helpful for me, dude. Like to get anything done. Otherwise I'm just kind of floating around, and the deadline could be it like it doesn't have to be a hard deadline, but it could be something like if I'm just looking at it as not like an entire album, or if I'm just looking like if it's even just one song, it could be something like I want to book some studio time to record like a demo with a friend and a couple other musicians, and I don't want to waste their time. I don't want to waste my time. So in a month from now, if I can book some time at a pretty affordable studio with some friends and get some folks together, that gives me enough time to really like tighten up some of the ideas so I can and communicate it through the other players, other people. And it makes me accountable, in a way. And it might not be something that I end up using in the end, but it's like having to show up and like work with other people is a great way I can trick myself into getting something done. Um, but yeah, like for me right now, I don't have like a hard deadline necessarily to get these demos done. I just know that like I want to get it done by I want to start recording it by next year, and maybe have it out by next year. So um, at this point, like it's just kind of like having those types of moments with other people. Like right now, there's some studios that I found in Highland Park that are really affordable and really cool, and there's enough people that in my life band that are available to work with, and it's fun working with other people too, because like kind of like having loops or trying these different drum sounds, like these musicians that you're friends with. I mean, we're talking about like writing music as like a maybe a solo artist, and it's so hard for people do it so many different ways. But for me, it's you can be so like you can just you can kind of be so isolated with it sometimes when you're working by yourself, but it's so much more helpful to kind of like give yourself a chance to let it breathe with other musicians, especially if you're like planning on recording with them. So for them, it doesn't feel like something that they're rushing when they finally record it, and it's something that maybe has felt like it's got a little bit more like of a life, or like it feels like it's a little bit more comfortable. It sounds like a little bit more natural for other players too. So um
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you were asked me the same question, I would not come up with that great of an answer. So I'm gonna let that simmer for a minute. Oh boy. Yeah, in terms of La La La, was it essentially you working by yourself on a lot of this and then bringing some people in certain cases here and there throughout the process?
yeah, like some of like like one of the songs specifically, like the salsa song that's called Taquero, which was like probably one of the most difficult songs to write. Or I don't play that type of piano necessarily, so it was like in demoing, I was able to bring in some people that I hadn't worked with before that can play that style really well, or some percussionists that can. Um, so yeah, it was I gave it some time to kind of like work it out with like other players before we actually like ended up recording it in the final version on like in the studio. So um, yeah, it's almost like giving yourself a chance to demo something is healthy for me to kind of like either have a deadline or also kind of like work out some kinks with people. But also like it may be something that could be fun. And I haven't done this yet, but it might be fun to like release some of this stuff at some point too. Some of these demos. So yeah, it's super helpful. Um, but it's like it's also like some of these bands sometimes people have like key players that they're always working with, and for me like the last two albums have been completely different roster altogether. And but now that I'm like living here and I'm more comfortable and I've had a chance to work with um I've had more time to work with certain people, it feels like it'll be a little bit more natural, or maybe it'll be a smaller group of people and maybe make it a little bit more manageable.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The people that you've been working with, I've been seeing just fantastic musicians. Jesus,
Hmm.
from Jesus Vintage Gear, of course, and Artie.
Oh yeah,
Um,
you know
uh,
Artie.
yeah, he's a fantastic drummer.
He's
Yeah,
oh my God, yeah, he is a fantastic drummer. He's involved in a lot of other cool musical projects that are wide ranging, in terms of
Uni
stylistically.
boys. We
I
gotta
have a good
plug them.
story.
They're nice. They're
Yeah.
nice guys. You know. Yeah. And I don't know why you just won't even mention the other band they're in. It's very.
There's always jealousy that you have as like when you're in a band and the drummer is like in a cooler band, you're like, like I can't mention. No, I'm just kidding. I love all those guys. But
Yeah.
Artie, I have a good, Daryl Johns. Do you know that artist?
Daryl
Um,
Johns. I
I
don't know.
think
I don't think so.
I think that's his name. Like either way, he's just kind of like a very like he put out an album like last year, I think, on Mac DeMarco's label, and it's very heady, like fusiony sounding, really like talented, like multi instrumentalist. But he saw Artie play with Uniboys, and which is like a power pop sounding band. And this guy who's like Daryl Johnson comes from kind of a jazz background, could hear like approach Artie like at a gig and was like, "Do you play jazz?" Like he could hear it, even though he was playing like power pop. He could kind of pick up on the characteristics that Artie had in terms of. I mean, he's such a multi-talented I mean, as far as like different genre, like I was able to throw at him on this last record, he was able to do everything
Yeah, it's
really
crazy. He's
easily.
super talented drummer.
Yeah, and like one of the most chill people. Like if you're on the road with someone like him, it's like you're so lucky because he's just like always mellow and always very calm. And you could be dealing with like a tough situation with like traveling, or you could be dealing with like a weird sound person that's like you're getting some weird vibes from, or like is having a bad day. And it's not going to make any of difference to Artie. He's going to be able to like, and just being around people like that is so, yeah, it can be very important
Yeah,
in making music.
he's a good hang. I like him.
Definitely. Do you guys go to school together or play
No, I met
bands
him
together?
through just he was just playing. I think that it was just with Uni Boys, and they were just in Orange County for a bit. But now
Oh,
they're like
nice.
freaking big rock star guys, so they don't come around here very
Totally.
often.
Yeah.
Anyways, they all got poached from Orange County, so I don't see him anymore. Him and the Reza,
Yeah,
that
who's like
guy.
a lemon twig now. Yeah.
He is a lemon twig,
Incredible.
yeah. Also a very good drummer in his own right as well. Yeah, and it's just great that people are using them to their advantage. I think that they are just multifaceted individuals, and it's
Mhm.
just great to see them
Totally.
succeed. And I don't know why you have such a hatred towards uni boys. I don't get
Well,
it,
you
but
can see why now. I mean,
sort
everything
of,
you've
yeah.
just mentioned. Yeah. I mean, all
And
their successes.
yeah, well, yeah, that is true. And Noah, the third member of Uni Boys as well.
Yeah, I heard he's a really good songwriter as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Um,
Michael, who I'm not super familiar with, but also is because it's a four piece now, I guess.
oh
Since
yeah.
the last time I saw them, I could be
Mhm.
wrong. Artie might punch me in the face next time I see him, but sorry.
Like so calmly though. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna
Like
be punched, but I know that I'm in the wrong, And I
Yeah,
go, yeah,
exactly.
all
You're gonna be
right.
like, you're right.
So fantastic roster of people you've been working with. This new album is released through Hardly Art, same as Hella Love was, right?
Hmm.
Did you reach out to them saying like, "Hey, I have a new album," or did they reach out to you saying like, "Hey, we would love to release another album"? What was that process like?
It was me like reaching out to them, which was, I mean, they're so cool about everything. They don't really add any pressure about um like you hear stories from other bands or other friends who are on different labels, and sometimes it sounds like um, other labels can be involved in terms of like maybe more songs like this, or which sounds pretty uncomfortable if you were like making music that people weren't supportive of, or you had to like cater to a certain sound or some anything like that, or even if it had to do with artwork. But but Sub Pop and Hardly are like very supportive. They've been doing this for a long time. It feels like that. It feels like the people that work for the label are all like enjoy what they're doing, and are enthusiastic, and they've been very supportive about everything, and they've never like really pushed anything. They'll have notes, they'll have like, we think these songs would be cool, for as singles, but you never feel like that's like set in stone or anything. You feel like they're really open to what you're feeling, if
Yeah.
and so it's cool. It's like and I think we were all kind of like learning about how to put out music during a pandemic together. But it seems like they've been very understanding with that situation as well. So yeah, they've been really cool about it. Yeah. I'm it's like a weird relationship to like develop. Like we haven't really, a lot of people in that label haven't really met in person since we've been the pandemic, and since things have gotten more comfortable for seeing live music in the last few years. Like a few of them have come down, and I've gotten a chance to meet more of them since La La La, or even more recently, which has been really cool. But yeah, very very cool label.
Yeah. Um, I feel like I talked to you last time about this, but Shayna was a role. Did and
Yeah,
Will Sprott also had
yeah,
a yeah.
yeah. Will, I think it had to do with Will being, I believe, from San Jose, California, and this label, or it was like a record shop, um, that had put out the previous album to Hella Love on their label. And Will had a song that was out with them, or like a LP, or I think it may have been just like a 45 or something. But they had just like sent him my record, as like, hey, like this is a new artist that's on our like roster that we're putting out. They hadn't put out that much music on their own to begin with, but they were like cool enough to send it to him. And Shayna, who I hadn't really known, um, like we had played a show together, but we were both like in different green rooms, sort of thing. But she just like reached out on her own accord, just to say like, yeah, I mean, she was so nice to just to even reach out and be like, hey, I like your album. Your album art caught my eye, and then I really
That's
like
that's
your
big
music.
for La Luz, especially.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
dude, they have such good taste, and like I I feel like they put out so much like funny like music videos and things like that. So prolific, and there's such great. She's such a great songwriter and singer. Yeah,
Super.
and yeah, to get like some blessings from a very reputable musician that you admire. Yeah, it was really really cool. And she was the reason that I sent Hella Love, or even got approached by Hardly Art, is because of her like kind of kindness, or like her reaching out. I could tell that she actually like was listening to what I was doing. So, and people get busy, other friends of yours, other musicians and things, people have other things going on. But I kind of had a feeling that if I sent her what I was working on, that she would actually listen to it. Um, and maybe if she had any ideas, I was open to it. And I didn't write her and say like, hey, can you give this to this person? I was just like, this is what I'm working on. And it was like very open ended, and then she followed up and she was just like, this is awesome. Can I pass it on to like my label? And I didn't even know Hardly Art was like a subsidiary of Sub Pop or anything like that. And I was like, sure. And then like a couple weeks later, I just noticed like on the private SoundCloud link that I'd sent, like Sub Pop had like listened to the songs a bunch of times, which just freaked me the fuck out. And I was just like, what is going on right now? Yeah. And then yeah. So yeah, she was key. She was key to all that.
That's awesome. Yeah, that very, very kind of her. Yeah, please go back and listen to Shayna's interview and Will's, because Will was just on here, and I thought
Oh,
about
nice.
I thought of you. I was like, oh yeah, yeah. Will and Shayna had some sort of a hand in this. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
definitely. Yeah,
shout
and it
out to
was
both of them.
totally, and it was cool to like the first song on La 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 had Shayna sing on like the beginning verse and like the very beginning part, and it worked out timing wise where I happened to be in the Bay Area, and they I forgot where they live, but it's like maybe a few hours outside of San Francisco or the Bay or Oakland. And they came down, both of them, and they brought their kid and they came to the studio. And it was the first time I'd ever worked with Shayna, and the first time we'd ever um got to hang out in that setting. But it was like very cool, and she was like very talented, and like it was very exciting to be able to like have her come in and do that, and just like having Will there, having their kid there, it was like a really like nice experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, Now with going back to La La La, what were the two? There's two or three singles, two singles that were
There were, I
released.
think, there were two. Yeah, you're right. There were like two music videos, and
Hmm.
then we have, yeah. I think there was like another single, but they didn't have a video attached to it.
So three singles. Did you know immediately like these are the singles that are going to be released?
Yeah, I did, and like in retrospect, I don't know. Like it's one of those things you look back and you're like, I don't know if that was like the right choice, but it was still really fun to like make a music video and to like for the both singles, you know. But I don't know if salsa music is like for everyone, you know, and or at least my version of it. And so like but at the same time it was a really fun like music video to make, you know, and it was I don't know if you've seen both of them, but both of them are very different music videos. But it was the first time like I had a chance to like you always get like a little bit of practice at making these music videos every time you kind of put out an album. But this last one was the first time I made videos with music videos with friends of mine who were really easy to work with, and like everyone worked together pretty well, and like and everyone kind of understood a lot of the humor and like the gags, and like it was a great group where like if I had said like, hey, we should have like a dynamite hot dog, you know, and someone takes a bite of it and there's like you know, we light the end of it, you know,
Fuse,
it's
yeah.
like a very Looney Tune sort of like bit, and everybody got it, like, and were in like supportive of. I mean, I could have said that to a group of people, their eyes could have been like, cool, and like their eyes could have rolled back, and like nothing ever happens with it. But when you're actually like shooting on the set and you see someone like squeezing out mustard in a really like thoughtful way on a fucking piece of dynamite between bread, it's like, oh man, it was so fun. It was a joy to work with people like that.
Yeah, you I saw you had a hand in a lot of these. Were you directing them or some of the parts of them or most of them?
Yeah, it was like a collaborative enough group of friends
Hmm.
that I feel like we were all, especially with Taquero, I think we were like sort of co-directing it as friends. A lot of it. My friend Chava was like the director, but he's like one of my best friends. So it was like working with him was like it was there was no ego attached. It was like all we were all sharing ideas. On the day, he was the one that had more experience in terms of like being a personality to organize everybody and like try to really get the plan everything out in the short amount of time that we had in these studios. Or you know, he was the one that was really conducting, I think, in that sense. And maybe on the other video, my other friends group, Leo and Maddie, were took the reins in terms of being in the director chair for that video. But we were all sort of collaborating together, and that was like the first time I'd ever worked in that type of environment. You know, working with friends where that were all a like skilled and be like passionate about it, and see like just like everyone's friends. So everything's like for the most part, everyone's really gelling with ideas. I think that's like a right way to do it, and it's like I being someone who plays in like a solo, like I've said, like on this pod, you know, like just an isolated musician that can be like really, you can be very singular about your ideas a lot of the time. But that type of environment felt more like a band that I've been in a long time, you know, of being in a group of people who they're already your friends. So they you have a similar sense of humor. So everyone's really gelling. And stylistically, everyone's like into like these kind of like thriller, kind of like post Tarantino crime 90s movies, or Japanese like Tokyo Drifter, or Kill Bill, or whatever you want to, like whatever the first video is, and then the second one, which was more of like kaiju, like Ultraman, like Toho, like Godzilla, Power Rangers, like all these other things, like these other completely different genres, but also like everyone kind of loves all those different things, or all these different movies or styles of movies. So it was fun, kind of like um, sharing those, just making those videos with friends.
Yeah, yeah, and they are amazing videos. Those will all be linked below, whatever you're listening to this on.
Yeah.
Um,
Sadly, we
but
have the comments turned off in that case, but yeah, feel free to reach out to me through my
we're gonna
email,
fix
which
that. Really amazing, and there's a lot of behind the scenes work that you had been posting on your Instagram about even constructing that octopus person thing.
yeah.
Yeah, and things like that, and the amount of people that you worked with. Renee Pacheco is one of them, and
Oh yeah. He's been
he's
on this pod
awesome.
too. Yeah,
He's
yeah,
been
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
He's so fun, and his scene, I feel like it had to be the right type of person to like put a straw in their mouth and then like put the gun, and like the gag was like, it's they're used to drinking a drink with the straw, and they're kind of like reaching with their tongue to grab the straw that they were just taking a drink from, insert a gun with a revolver with a crazy long barrel that it gets confused as a straw. It's like it seems like very loony, like again, in like a very Looney Tune, like Wile E. Coyote sort of gag, but like Renee was like so funny, and understood the assignment, was like really,
For sure, he is the person who would totally understand
yes,
what you're going for and how to execute it for sure.
definitely, like
That's one of those dudes for
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
exactly, exactly,
It's that's so awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, obviously a lot of time and effort has been put into these music videos, but in terms of your interest with movies and with music, is that I mean the sole intersection of where these interests merge?
yeah. This last album, and it was a little bit of like the post pandemic. It was like looking back on the pandemic and the fact that we were all so isolated as well. I was just watching like tons of movies. Like I think all of us were, all of us were just like home, and we were just like consuming tons of media, and like then with just the amount of time that we had at home. And I think moving to LA, it felt like I'm moving to this like Southern California, this mecca of like film and history, and there was something there in terms of like a concept that I was trying to like work with. And then I think with having that be the concept, it gave me like I allowed that as a reason to kind of like jump around with between different genre, um, with film and stuff. And but where I'm at now, post like that record, I feel like and making these videos, it's like it would be so fun to have more involvement in making music for a film, or like maybe me even making my own movies, or a movie someday, and like trying to do the soundtrack for it, would be really ambitious but really fun. And so maybe it's the same group of people I've been working on. Maybe we can continue to work together down the road, or make other things come to life too. It'd be really fun.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. In terms of scoring film, um what is a film that is a good film with a bad soundtrack, and what is a movie with a bad soundtrack but is a good film?
Oh man, these are tough. I don't know. There's like a like bad is so crushing, but yeah.
Yeah, but
Like
let
there's
me.
some there's a movie, like a soundtrack that I was really into as like a younger person, but it's you could probably make the argument it's bad. It's not. I think it is a good movie like today, but it's not like I'm way more into that movie Michael Mann, like Last of the Mohicans. Like
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't go as far as to say it's a bad movie. I've definitely put it on in certain people, and people have just like fallen asleep. I like it. I mean, but I think the soundtrack to that movie is like very very powerful soundtrack. And as a kid, it was like one of the first like soundtracks like that got my attention. I guess that I was like maybe my parents had the cassette or something like that. Maybe they really liked it too. Probably if they bought the cassette. But I
I mean,
remember,
obviously, I mean, if you own the
yeah,
cassette,
yeah,
you gotta
yeah,
love it. Can I be
yeah,
honest with you? I remember
sure.
seeing that movie. I don't remember any music being in it at all. So I gotta go
Mhm.
back and maybe go up to San Francisco and grab that tape if your parents still have it to just check it out because if this is the
Dude,
one that's coming to mind.
I might have it here for you too, man. Yeah, I'll
All
save
right,
you the trip.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
drop by.
That sounds good. Yeah, yeah, check it out. It's like or just like check out the soundtrack on YouTube or something.
Comments
Yeah,
off, of course.
yeah.
Uh, and in
And
terms
then
of a bad film with or a good film with a bad soundtrack.
the remake of the movie Suspiria that wasn't terrible. I mean, it was like completely different than the original. Maybe arguably shouldn't have been even remade, you know? Like one of the best, I think, one of the most like celebrated probably Dario Argento movies, right? And then the soundtrack was done by Tom York. And no shade on Tom York specifically for make like it's not the entire soundtrack is bad, but there's parts of that soundtrack where he's singing on it, and it's like one thing, Johnny Greenwood isn't a singer. Great, great arranger, great movie scorer, you know, like has done like some incredible work on a few Paul Thomas Anderson movies that are incredible, right? And no ego attached. You know, if you didn't know that Johnny Greenwood um, didn't arrange it, you would still, you probably, you know, there's like no, I don't know. It's like it almost surpasses your expectation of what you even think he would do. But with Tom York's approach to the Suspiria soundtrack, at one point in the movie, there's a part where he's like singing, and I think it's like having a Radiohead song or like a Tom York song like in the middle of a movie just like took me so out of it. Where I was, you know, I would have been fine without any of his vocals, and I it's not that I don't like his vocals at all.
It
I
just
think that it,
wasn't the time and the place for it.
yeah.
Yeah. I never thought about that, a remake of a movie, but in terms of sound or music accompaniment, I know that must be very hard to get on track as well.
Well, have you seen the original Suspiria movie?
No,
Um,
no.
it has like this really incredible soundtrack by this like Italian group called Goblin, who had done like I don't know how many movies with Dario Argento, but they'd done a few, and they're really cool. I mean, not all of it, not all of their music is awesome, but these movie soundtracks, Tenebrae and Suspiria, are like some of their probably some of their best. Deep Red as well, but the Suspiria soundtrack is like incredible, and so it's like to try to like to try to redo like one of the director's most acclaimed movies and one of like I don't know like one of the best soundtracks in a movie and one of my favorite soundtracks in a movie. Like it's hard to copy both of those. You know, it's quite a feat. You know,
That's
but
super tough. Super
mhm.
tough. Yeah.
But what do you do? Do you like I saw like a trailer for the like they're redoing like another like Superman movie with I forgot the name of the guy that did like he did like a couple other Marvel movies. I can't remember the names of them. Um what's his name? Anyway,
One of those guys, yeah. Yeah.
one of those guys. But they use like they do use the the soundtrack from the original, like Christopher Reeves, like in the trailer, and it's not something we've heard in like a lot of the other renditions of like Superman we've seen in the last like I don't know, maybe 20 years or 15 years. But just them bringing it back was like way more emotive, like having actual John Williams music like in any movie, but especially like a newer version. I remember catching the trailer yesterday, and like I wouldn't have really gotten into what they were doing in the trailer so much. But as soon as I heard the John Williams like callback from the Christopher Reeves movie, I was like I was glued to it at that point. It really made a difference.
Jess, you're wrong, but that's fine. We don't have time to get. No, I'm just kidding. That's great, man. Jess, I really appreciate you coming back on here, man.
Dude,
Thank
thanks.
you
Jake,
very
thanks for having
much,
me,
dude.
Jacob. Yeah, man.
Uh,
Absolutely.
Now before I let you go, we got some promo to do here.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
La La La, the most recent release from Marinero is out now through Hardly Art. I believe it's hardlyart.com is where you can get it. Whatever the correct link is will be linked below. And through your Bandcamp is where they could also find the album as well.
hmm Yeah, you can find La 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 on the other album, Hella Love, as well.
Sweet. Yeah, and Hello Love is also available through hardlyart.com. And is it midinero.bandcamp.com? Is that the
Oh my God. I think it's like Marinero, but it might, yeah, I can't remember exactly. But yeah,
what
it's, we'll have the
again,
link as well. Yeah.
whatever it is, that will be linked below. The music videos will be linked below as well, so please go check those out. Fantastic, a lot of great players in it. Very, very, very nice. I did like the one with you at the bus stop as well. We didn't really touch down on that one, but I did like that one too.
Cool, man. Thank you.
So all that good stuff will be linked below as well. People should follow you on Instagram, right? That's the best place to stay up to date with news and shows and tours and all that good stuff.
Absolute best place. Yeah. It's, and that's at Marin underscore Wedo, like Guero. So Marin underscore Guero.
We didn't really get into this, but Takedo, the you have a little short videos on Instagram that you go and review some food and tacos and this sort of stuff. So yeah, that's where you could find it. It's just on Instagram, right?
And TikTok as well. Yeah. Either,
And TikTok. Yeah, what's the
yeah.
what's the TikTok?
It's the same. It's Marin underscore Wedo as well.
Yeah, so both on Instagram and TikTok, hardlyarts dot com for both of these releases and the Bandcamp, of course, and the YouTube and this tour that's coming up with Surprise Chef. That's going to be amazing. When is it? One more time in
For us, it'll start July 17th in Colorado.
July 17th. That's going to be awesome. That's a good time to go to Colorado. Is it Fort Collins? Is it Boulder? Is it Denver?
I think it's Boulder.
Aspen?
Yeah.
Boulder.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, that's I mean Grand Junction is also another place. Yeah, I mean you're gonna be going to all these places anyways.
Yeah.
During the not this tour, but the next tour is gonna be great. Worldwide tour.
hmm
Yeah,
That's
all
right.
50 states. Do we have anything else to promote?
I think that's it. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks for having me, Jacob, a second time. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Dude, thank you. La 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 out now, streaming everywhere, wherever you get your music, that's where you can find it. Jess, you're the man. I'm gonna stop recording this. I'll talk to you in a minute, okay?
Sounds good.
All
Thanks,
right.
brother.